Let's have a quick conversation about credit union business credit card for new LLC, how to get a high limit and low APR. Don't go anywhere. You're going to love today's conversation. I guarantee it. Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous. If you were to ask me, if you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka and let's roll. In today's conversation, I want to talk to you about credit union business credit cards for a new LLC. How do you get a high limit and a low APR? The first thing you need to do is to know credit union credit cards that are friendlier to new LLCs. This is very important. We have actually covered this topic on 2 shows, so if you're interested, you might want to go back and read those and actually watch those shows afterwards. So the first one is 10 rare EIN only business credit cards from credit union with low APRs and high limits. The second one is 5 rare credit union EIN only business credit cards for startups. So when we talk about credit union credit cards that are friendlier to new LLCs, we are talking about the Navy Federal Credit Union Go Biz Rewards Card. Again, this list is not exhaustive, but I just want to give you a few examples. So that the Navy Fed Go Biz is really good. Here you have credit line that goes all the way to $25,000 or $75,000 if you have a great NPR with Navy Fed. And the APR is 6 to 18%. Minimum time in business, 3 months. Minimum revenue per year, $50,000. You also have, for example, the GTE Financial Business MasterCard, and the credit line here up to $50,000. APR 5 to 15%. Minimum time in business, 3 months. Minimum revenue per year, $24,000. And then you have the American Heritage Credit Union Business Platinum MasterCard. The credit line here goes from $300,000 to $40,000. The APR 2.59% to 12.59%. Minimum time in business 3 months. Minimum revenue per year $50,000. And then you have the NASA Federal Business Visa Platinum Advantage Rewards Credit Card. Here the credit line goes all the way to $50,000. APR 9.4 to 18%. Minimum time in business 6 months. Minimum revenue per year $24K. And one thing I want to see here is that all these credit cards come from credit unions that are national. In other words, you don't have to have any geographic affiliation, professional affiliation, family bonds to qualify. Okay, you can qualify for any of those business credit cards anywhere you live, from anywhere you live in the country. It's also important to understand that you need to familiarize yourself with the best credit unions because not all credit unions cater to new LLCs. Okay, so again, if you have time, I want you to go back and watch those shows that I just told you about. The 10 rare EIN only business credit cards from credit unions with low APRs and high limits. That's the first one. And the second one, 5 rare credit union EIN only business credit cards for startups. Step number 2, if your goal is to get a high limit business credit card for a new LLC, you need to think about legality. Legality is very important, folks. So first of all, you need to establish your business as an LLC. This is important. Do not remain a sole proprietorship or don't try to have an S Corp or C Corp. You want to remain an LLC, a limited liability company. In other words, you need to register with the state where your business will operate. You need to have articles of organization. This is a big decision time. Talk to me here. Do you have articles of organization? Have you written them? And do you have partners in your LLC? Because every partner has to agree when we talk about the articles of organization. What about bylaws? Do you have bylaws? Bylaws are very important also because bylaws will govern how the LLC will actually run from within. It's important. You want to hire staff if needed. Accountant, you can have an accountant, an admin assistant. All these things are really important. And if you hire staff, please register your employees with the state. What I'm trying to tell you here is I want you to run your business the legit way. I want you to comply with all laws and regulations that affect business owners. This is really important. You want to get your EIN, your employer identification number. If you have an LLC, it's important to take that step, and to get an EIN is very easy. You want to go to the IRS website. It takes about 5-10 minutes, and they will issue an EIN. So an EIN is just a simple, it's sort of similar to a social security number. It's a 9-digit number that allows the IRS, for example, among other things, to know that you exist, but also to make sure that you pay your fair share of taxes, okay? And once you have an EIN and you have set up your business, you have registered with your state department, you want to open a business checking account. This can be at a credit union, which is even better, okay? And this could be at a credit union where you want to get the credit card in the first place. So once you chose the credit union that you want, it's better to open a business checking account at that credit union. And you also want to think about DBA, doing business as. In some states, you might have to take care of that also, especially if you have a holding company that has several brands, you want to specify that. So the bottom line here is that the more legal, the more compliant you are, the better your chances of getting a business credit card with a high limits and low APR from a credit union, because they will see your business as legit, they will see you as professional, and this is really important. And please do not forget, the EIN is very important, and also you need to set up the business as an LLC. The third thing you need to do is to write a compelling business plan. This is so quintessential. I'm not asking you to write it if you don't have a knack for writing business literature, okay? You can outsource the whole thing. We have covered this on many shows, but a business plan is quintessential. Why? Because a business plan tells a credit union, a card issuer, that you have thought about your business model. You have thought about where you want to see your business 1 year from now, 5 years from now, 3 months from now. This is a business plan. It's all about business planning. Okay, so this is important not only for the credit card issuer, but also for yourself. So when we talk about a business plan, please don't be stingy here. Don't go and just get me like a $5 or $20 business plan. No. If you're serious about your LLC, and you're serious about getting a high limit credit union credit card from, if you're serious about getting a high limit business credit union business credit card, you want to write a compelling business plan. And you can hire someone locally. You can hire someone on websites such as Freelancer, Fiverr, or Upwork, or you can buy software to do it yourself. But the bottom line is you want to have a compelling business plan. In the business plan, you want to talk about your vision. Remember, if you are a new LLC, you need to communicate your vision, your mission to the credit card issuer and to the lender for that matter, okay? You want to talk about your business model. This is important. What is your business model? In other words, how do you intend to make money? How can you monetize your initiatives, your actions, your operations? Talk to me about that, or talk to the lender about that, or talk to the credit card issuer about that. Okay. And you also want to mention your financial statements. So in the business plan, you need to incorporate your financial statements. Obviously, if you are a new LLC, you are having projected data, right? So projected balance sheet data, projected cash flow statement data, projected income statement data, and projected owner's equity statement data. So everything is projected, but you need to back it up with realistic assumptions. Don't just go out there and just tell me that, you intend to 10x or 15x your revenue after 1 year. No, that's baloney. Be realistic here. All right. This is why you need to work with someone who knows how to write a business plan, and somebody who has some expertise in the field of accounting or financial reporting. Okay. So this is important. But the bottom line is money, 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 money. Please explain at length and very clearly how your LLC plan to make money. This is really important. This is what we call the monetization loop. You need to really explain that so the credit card issuer, or the lender for that matter, will know that you are serious and that you intend to make money. Number 4, the fourth step is you need to actually pinpoint the credit union that you are interested in. So when we talk about business credit cards for no LLC coming from a credit union, you have several options. First of all, are you looking for a national credit union or a regional credit union? In other words, are you looking for a credit union that has a national footprint, or you're comfortable with a credit union that is available in your state? It really depends on where your business is located. It depends on your ambitions for the business. It depends on the APR, the fees, the the credit card limits. I mean, it depends on a constellation of criteria. And my question to you is, where do you currently bank? Are you banking right now with a credit union? If that's the case, why don't you start with them? Why don't you apply for a business credit card for a new LLC with them, if they have one, if they offer such a credit card? Okay. And another question is, in which states is your LLC registered? So if your LLC is registered, for example, in Texas, it might make sense to look for a credit union that covers Texas among other states. Okay. And another thing you need to think about, which sector are you in? Because the macro in your sector will play an important role in terms of the credit card issuer that you go to. In other words, where are your competitors getting their credit cards from? So those are things you need to think about. So when we talk about choosing a credit union for your business accounts, for your credit cards, for your loans, you need to think about a few things. First of all, can you join? In other words, as you probably understand, that credit unions are a membership-based organization, so you'll have to be eligible to bank with one, right? So some credit unions have fairly relaxed requirements, but others do have strict requirements. And how will you bank? Would you do branch banking? Would you do online banking? What is your need in terms of banking? Are you into technology? Do you want an app? Do you want to have a user-friendly dashboard? Or you're comfortable just having banking as it was done a few years ago or a few decades ago? You also need to think about the features of the credit cards, but also of the loan. Okay, we are still talking here about how to choose a credit union for your banking needs. Okay, and what other products are available. Obviously, you are interested in a business credit card for a new LLC, but what about loans? What about banking accounts, checking accounts rather? What about savings accounts? Okay, and does the credit union offer additional business services? So those are things you want to think about. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another section of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation today about credit union, business credit card for a new LLC, how to get a high limit with a low APR. I want to talk to you about an MPR now. So when we speak about MPR, we are speaking about multi-product relationship. And it is important that the credit union that you are going to choose, ultimately, this is the credit union with which you want to establish an MPR. And by the way, folks, MPR is a term that we have used internally in our research and for our clients for the last 15 to 20 years. If you Google this term, you will not find it. Okay, this is something that we use internally, and what we have seen is that some people have been using this on YouTube and other platforms, saying that when you talk about MPR, you have to include all accounts. No, MPR only takes care of deposit accounts. If you have loan accounts with a credit union, it will not qualify, because a loan account is synonymous with exposure for the credit union. It's not something that in other words, they might lose if you default. But if you have an MPR with deposit accounts, those are asset accounts for you. Whereas a credit card or a loan is a liability account for you. So establish an MPR with a credit union. In other words, you want to think about opening a business checking account and or a business savings account. Those are really good. So those are the two basic accounts you can open if you have a new LLC and you want to boost your chances of being approved. And again, you only try to establish a strong MPR with a credit union with which you want to open a credit card account. In other words, where you want to apply for a business credit card, that's where you have to focus all your energy and all your money. You can also open investment accounts for your business. Okay, some credit unions offer investment accounts for businesses or brokerage accounts. You can also open IRAs, individual retirement accounts. You can open CDs, so business CDs, certificates of deposit. If you have extra cash and you want to put some extra cash in a business CD, that's totally possible. You can also consider money market accounts. Those are important also. So everything I've been telling you so far, those are called deposit accounts. Those are not liability accounts, okay? And this is what constitute the fulcrum of an MPR, a multi-product relationship, but only deposit products. But if the credit union also offers services, for example, payroll services or merchant services, you want to sign up for them if, of course, those are in line with what your business needs. And you can also consider having insurance through the credit union, for example. What I'm trying to say is you want to have multiple data points, multiple contact points that you have with the credit union so that when you ask them for a business credit card with the higher limits and lower APR, they'll take care of you. Next, you really need to understand the requirements of the business credit cards for a new LLC that you're trying to get. What I'm trying to say is, how can you apply for a product for which you have no idea, how are you applying for a product whose requirements you have no idea about? You got to have a clear idea of the LLC credit cards that you're trying to get from a credit union, right? So this is where you need to talk to them. You need to call them up. You need to have a conversation with them. You need to go on their website to learn more about the requirements. So when we talk about business credit card requirements from credit unions, basically they want to have your business's legal name, contact information for your business, your industry type. This is important. Your sector is really important because your sector is going to drive what we call the macro analysis here. In other words, is your sector profitable? Is your sector not profitable? The credit union might ask for your business entity or legal structure. Obviously, you want to be an LLC because this show is exclusively focused on being on business credit cards for new LLCs. They might ask you for your time in business and the number of employees. Make sure everything is legit. So if you are a startup, just choose the lowest option available in your application's time in business in the business field. So they might ask like less than 3 months, less than 6 months. Just choose whatever applies to you. Think about your federal tax ID, your EIN. This is important. They might ask you for your annual business revenue and estimated monthly spend. If you're a new LLC, you don't have actual numbers, okay? You will have projected data, projected numbers. So do your best to have realistic numbers. Again, don't talk about 10x revenue or 15x revenue or 20x revenue in one year or 2 years or 5 years. Who knows? But be realistic. You want to mention also your total annual income or your expected total annual income. Okay. You also want to talk a bit about your brain. This is important to the credit union. Now, you might be thinking here, this is a show about business credit. Why are we talking about the brain? Well, a brain actually epitomizes what your company stands for and your goals. If you are able to articulate in your business plan how you're going to use your brain to make more money, this could be an asset also. As a matter of fact, for some companies, a brain can be an asset, and those are called intangible assets. Okay. The credit union might ask for your legal name, your contact information, and your social security number. They might ask for your personal credit history. They might ask for some personal guarantees, especially if you're asking for a higher credit card limits. Let's talk about the application, folks. I'm still explaining to you how to get a high limits and a low APR from a credit union if you have a new LLC. So let's talk about the application. Now, the application is pretty straightforward here. You want to apply at a branch or over the phone. I know people sometimes want to apply online and you are free. Feel free to do that. But I warn you, if you apply online, you are allowing an algorithm to decide whether or not you should be approved for a business credit card. And if you are approved, you might get a lower limit. So it's just a lot better to actually apply at a branch or over the phone, okay? And you need to decide which business credit card is right for you. This is important. You want to think about, do they have a 0% intro APR? Do they have an annual fee? Because those are things you need to think about. Do they have a rewards program, for example? Okay, big decision time. Are you in a business where you are going to be on the road all the time, or you're going to have employees on the road traveling overseas? Because if you have a credit card that has a foreign transaction fee, this could be a detriment to your business, to your operations. So think about that. You also want to ask the credit union, when you talk to the rep, the credit card rep, you want to talk to them about the introductory bonus. Okay. You also need to understand the dichotomy, the distinction between business credit card and charge card. Okay. This is important. Some credit unions have what they call charge cards. In other words, every month you have to pay whatever balance you have. You're not allowed to carry over any balance. So this is what a charge card is, but a business credit card, you are allowed to carry over balances as long as you are paying the minimum payment. You're paying the minimum payment. You are making the minimum payment. And one thing I want to say here is that before you apply, whether you apply at a branch or over the phone, please check your credit score. This is really important. When we talk about business credit cards for a new LLC, you can apply with EIN only or without EIN. If you choose the latter, you want to check your credit score, okay? You want to gather the necessary business credit card requirements. You want to fill out the application, and that's it. So when you do all those things, you just want to wait for approval. You got to be patient, okay? Sometimes it takes 2 days, 3 days, but overall, it shouldn't take that long. It shouldn't take more than a week to hear back if you are approved. And so this is really what it is. And obviously, people will tell you you can apply online, so you can find out if you are approved instantly. But take your time, prepare the application process, and you should be very satisfied. Okay. Thank you so much for your attention, folks. In today's conversation, I was talking to you about credit union business credit card for a new LLC, how to get a high limits and low APR. Number one, you need to familiarize yourself with the credit union's business credit cards for new LLCs. Number two, you need to take care of the legality aspect of things. Number three, you want to have a solid business plan. Number four, you want to have an idea of how to select the credit union. Number five, you want to establish a multi-product relationship with a credit union that you want to, where you want to apply. Number six, you want to know the requirements of the card. And number seven, you want to apply. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll see you next time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.